What's up, guys? My name is Brandon. You guys can call me Swifterrs, and welcome back to a brand new Fortnite video here on my channel today. I'm so excited to be bringing you guys 5 locations that no one goes to in Fortnite Battle Royale. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at every single named location on the map, and I'm going to be bringing you guys my top 5 list of places that no one drops in the very beginning. Now, when I say no one drops or no one goes to these locations, what I mean is 99% of the players that play Fortnite Battle Royale never go to these locations. What that does mean is the 1% of players, meaning only one person out of the 100 in a Fortnite match, actually may end up going here. Now, it's also possible that some of the locations that I mentioned in today's video are places that you guys frequently go to, but for the majority of the time, these are going to be locations that relatively no one goes to in the map. Now, in my last video, I asked you guys what locations you guys never go to in Fortnite Battle Royale, so in today's video, we are going to be pulling from my personal experiences alongside the feedback that you guys left me on my previous video. Now, I do want you guys to let me know right now in the comment section below if there are any types of videos you guys would like to see me do here on my channel, whether it's a new top 5 or a top 10 video. Let me know what you guys would like to see me do here on my channel. With all of that being said, let's get started with today's video, taking a look at 5 locations that no one goes to in Fortnite. Alrighty, guys, so to start this list off, the very first location that no one goes to in Fortnite Battle Royale is probably the most obvious. This is Junk Junction. Now, this place can be found on the very top left-hand corner of the map, and because it's so isolated, virtually no one goes here. Now, the only way I would ever make my way to Junk Junction, and I'm assuming you guys are probably in the same boat as me, is 1, if the circle made its way over here, and 2, if I had one of the Battle Pass challenges telling me to search chests at Junk Junction or to eliminate opponents at Junk Junction as well. If I'm not mistaken, I believe back in Season 2, one of the challenges was actually to search chests in Junk Junction, and since then, and aside from the gameplay that you guys are seeing right now, I have stayed away from Junk Junction, and I pretty much never go here. Now, one of the main downsides of Junk Junction is the fact that because it's on the top left-hand corner of the map, the majority of the time, the storm circle is going to spawn very far away, which means you don't have much time to loot, and you need to start running to get inside of the safe zone. On the other hand, because it's so isolated, no one's going to end up going here, which means you probably won't die early on, and you're going to survive for a very long time. On top of that, there is a ton of steel here, which means you guys can farm and get as many materials as you possibly can before you make your way into battle, but for the most part, Junk Junction is a place that no one goes to. So, moving on to our next location that no one goes to, this is another place which can be found on the very far left-hand side of the map. Here we have Snobby Shores. Now, honestly, I was a little bit hesitant to include this location in today's video just because I do know sometimes people end up going here, but for the majority of the time, in the grand scheme of things, Snobby Shores is a place that is relatively untouched. Now, personally, I never go to Snobby Shores unless I have challenges telling me to do so, and the only time where I get close to Snobby Shores is if I ever go to the rocket base, which can be found in the mountain extremely close by, and I assume that a lot of you guys are also in the same position as me. You prefer to drop somewhere inland, close to the center of the map, or a main town, just because, I don't know about you guys, I really like to get a lot of kills when I play. Winning is always a super fun time in Fortnite, but for me, I have the most fun when I drop into a place and there's a lot of people, and I can leave that place in the very beginning with upwards of 8 to 10 kills. I find getting kills to be a lot more fun than hiding and playing strategic just to only get 2 or 3 kills to end up winning the game. But from my personal experiences, whenever I'm playing solo or squads with my friends, we never go to Snobby Shores, and I'm assuming a lot of you guys probably don't go here as well, which is why I've decided to include Snobby Shores in today's video. So, moving on to our next location that no one goes to in Fortnite Battle Royale, we are moving to the far upper right-hand corner of the map. This is Wailing Woods. Now, in my opinion, Wailing Woods is one of the worst areas just because there really aren't that many chests at this place, and whenever the storm closes at Wailing Woods, I always hate it. And I honestly feel that recently, a lot of the storm circles have been closing close by to Wailing Woods. It's always so hard to see enemies given the fact that there are so many trees at this area area, but personally, Wailing Woods really doesn't have all that great of loot, but at the same time, Wailing Woods is also a little bit of an underrated area just because there are so many trees nearby, which means you guys can get a 9-9 wood very quickly, and I honestly think that materials and being able to build and edit quickly are really what wins games. Kills are always helpful, but if you guys can easily build, edit, and outbuild your opponents, it's very helpful when it comes to winning a game of Fortnite. So Wailing Woods is a little bit underrated in the sense where you guys can get a lot of materials. At the same time, there really isn't all that great of loot, and because no one lands here, you guys are probably going to survive for a very long time because you probably won't encounter anyone until the storm circle starts to get a little bit smaller. So moving on to our next location, we are going back to the far left hand side. This is Haunted Hills. Now the main reason why I don't go to Haunted Hills is because it's so scary. No, but seriously guys, Haunted Hills, like Junk Junction, is pretty much on the very far upper left hand side of the map, and because of that, it is very isolated. And we go back to what I previously said, if a place is isolated and no one really drops here, and if no one really drops here, I don't get kills, and if I don't get kills, I don't have fun. And playing Fortnite is all about having fun and enjoying your time doing it. At the same time, in my opinion, Haunted Hills is also a very underrated location just because there are a ton of chests which you guys can get here. On top of that, there are trees, there are cars, there are also stone walls, so you guys can get a ton of materials, both wood, stone, and steel. So Haunted Hills is definitely an underrated place just because there is a ton of loot. There's also a ton of ways you guys can get a ton of materials. At the same time, it is isolated, so not a lot of people drop here, and I find that to be a little bit boring. On top of that, because it's so far off on the left hand side, the storm circle may spawn relatively far, which means you guys gotta loot very quickly and make your way to the safe zone. So moving on to our fifth and final location in Fortnite Battle Royale that no one goes to, this is Lucky Landing. Now obviously, Lucky Landing is on the very bottom portion of the map, which means it is a little bit isolated, and because of that, no one really ends up going here. Now the only way I would ever make my way down to Lucky Landing alongside any of the previous locations that I talked about is one, if the storm circle closes at this area, and two, if I have weekly challenges telling me to search chests at Lucky Landing or any other location, or to eliminate opponents at Lucky Landing or any other location. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Lucky Landing is our second most recent new named location that the developers have decided to add to the Fortnite map. Obviously, just the other week, we did receive the new soccer field. However, that actually doesn't have a name, and when Season 4 came out, the developers added Risky Reels, but before that, I believe with patch volume 3.5, maybe a patch update before that, the developers did add both the hunting rifle and Lucky Landing to Fortnite. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but back when Chinese New Year was here, the developers added a bunch of pagodas at various locations around the map. A pagoda is basically all of the buildings that you guys see at Lucky Landing, but after Chinese New Year was over, they consolidated all of the pagodas and put them at one location, being a Lucky Landing. Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that Lucky Landing is still here. I was hoping that after Chinese New Year was taken out, they would put a different location at this place, so maybe in an upcoming update, a Lucky Landing may be removed and we may receive a new location here in Fortnite. But of course, like some of the previous locations I talked about, Lucky Landing is a little bit underrated just because there are so many places that you guys can search to get a ton of chests. On top of that, you have cars, you also have brick, and you have wood, so you can also get a ton of materials and loot before you guys make your way into battle. Not only that, Lucky Landing is pretty close to Fatal Fields, and because of that, you can drop here, get loot, get materials, and kill some unsuspecting enemies at Fatal Fields. So guys, there you have it. Those were 5 locations that no one goes to in Fortnite Battle Royale. I do want to go ahead and reiterate the fact that when I say no one goes to these locations, I'm mainly referring to the fact that no one actually drops here right off the battle pass at the very start of the match. Of course, I'm sure there may be a lot of you guys watching today's video that do actually go to all of these places, but as I said in the beginning of the video, 99% of the players do not go to these locations at the very start, which means it's possible that only one person out of the 100 in the match actually end up dropping there. Now, as I also said in the beginning of today's video, I do want you guys to let me know in the comment section below if there are any other types of videos that you guys would like to see me do here on my channel. Are there any specific top 5 or even top 10 videos that you guys would like to see me do? If there are, let me know down in the comment section below. Regardless, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to drop a like down below, subscribe if you're new. If you guys have yet to do so, please be sure to turn on those post notifications because I do upload daily Fortnite content here on my channel. With all of that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be sure to catch you guys later.